Hello there, everybody. It's me again, and I'm starting to read another book, and it is not actually part of the series of Honey or Pie because there's no more of that I know of. But I found another book that I thought would be really fun to read, and it's quite a bit longer, so it will take a long time, and I definitely will be uploading these, as you can see, after I finish uploading all of Pie. So, yes, this story is called Better Off Friends by Elizabeth Eulberg. I think that's how it's pronounced. But yeah, I just read like the first 2 chapters or something to see what it was like, and I thought that it would be really fun to read this aloud. So hopefully I can get this through pretty fast, because it is a library book, so gotta bring it back sometime. So yeah, I hope you enjoy me reading this, and this is the first time I'm reading this, so I hope I enjoy reading it aloud as well. Okay then, let's just get into this. Okay, see you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's read. Okay, wait, hold on. I messed this up several times. I just need to remind you that in before every chapter, there is an after chapters. I think there is like a little dialogue kind of thing with the 2 friends. So yeah, if I explain that well enough, you'll get used to it. But it's pretty funny. So let's actually start this now. Okay, let's go. Better Off Friends by Elizabeth Eulberg. Guys and girls can be friends. Way to get that right to the point, Levi. All I'm saying is that it's possible for guys and girls to be friends. I've never understood what the big deal is. I mean, yeah, we've had to deal with all those stupid questions. Oh, the questions. Are you guys together? Why not? You've hooked up at some point, right? Or thought of it? But Callan, how can you resist Levi's considerable charms? That has never happened. I don't know. Well, I do, and it's never happened. Ever. Okay, fine, but I'll admit it hasn't been totally easy. We've had some problems. Some problems? Alright, more than a few. But look how everything turned out. I don't think either of us thought we'd even speak to each other again after my first day at school, back in 7th grade. Especially since you must have had a huge crush on me. Are you remembering the same day that I am? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, I believe you're suffering from delusional fantasies. I'm not delusional. There are many words to describe me. Awesome, stud, male extraordinaire, you name it. Fine, you're awesome, but clearly delusional. Chapter 1. I was probably the first kid ever excited for summer to be over. There was too much free time that summer, which can lead to too much thinking, especially for a lost-stricken 11-year-old. I couldn't wait for 7th grade to start, to dive into schoolwork, to distract myself from the loneliest facts. At one point, I regretted turning down Dad's offer to spend the summer in Ireland with Mom's family, but I knew that if I went, there would be reminders of her everywhere. Not like there wasn't one every time I looked in the mirror. So the only escape I had was school. When I got the message that I was to report to the main office before class, I was worried I'd be faced with another year of forced visits with a school counselor, looks of pity from fellow classmates, and well-meaning but oblivious faculty members who kept telling me it was important to keep her memory alive. Like I could ever forget her. I wasn't ready for any additional drama that morning. It was already the first day of a new school year since. Do you want me to go with you, McCallan? Emily asked, after I received my summons to the office. A tight smile on her face gave away the concern she thought she was hiding. No, it's okay, I replied. I'm sure it's nothing. She studied me for a second before adjusting my hair clip. Well, if you need me, I'll be in Mr. Nelson's class. I gave her a reassuring smile and kept it on my face as I entered the office. Principal Blaskett greeted me with a hug. Welcome back, McCallan. How was your summer? Great, I lied. We both stared at each other, neither knowing what to say next. Well, I'm going to need your assistance today with a new student. Meet Levi Rogers. He's from Los Angeles. I looked over and saw this boy with long blonde hair pulled into a low ponytail. His hair was even longer than mine. He tucked a loose strand behind his ear before he reached his hand out and said, "Hey." I had to give him credit. At least he had manners, for a surfer dude. Principal Blaska handed me his schedule. Could you show him around and take him to his first class? Of course. I led Levi out into the hallway and started giving him the 5-cent tour. I wasn't in the mood to play What's Your Life Story. The building is basically in the shape of a T. Down this hallway you have your math, science, and history classes. I started motioning my arms like a flight attendant. Then behind you, English and language classes as well as study hall. I started walking fast. And there's the gym, cafeteria, and music and art rooms. Oh, and there are bathrooms at the end of each hall as well as a bubbler. His eyebrows shot up. What's a bubbler? My immediate reaction was one of disbelief. How could he not know what a bubbler is? I don't know what a bubbler is. Where you can get water to drink. I walked him over to it and turned the handle for the water to come out of the spout. Oh, you mean a water fountain? Yes, water fountain, bubbler, whatever. He laughed. I've never heard it called a bubbler before. My response was to walk faster. As his eyes swept the hallway, I noticed they were light blue, almost gray. It's so weird, he went on. You could fit this entire school in my old school's cafeteria. His voice went up at the end of everything he said, like it was a question. It's like gonna be a lot to adjust to, you know? I know this was supposed to be the point where I politely asked him about his old school, but I wanted to get to class as soon as possible. A few guys passed by to say hello, everyone checking out the new guy. Our school was fairly small. The majority of us had been together since 5th grade, if not kindergarten. I stole another glance at him. It was hard to decipher if he was cute. His hair was practically white in places, probably from the sun. His tan made his light hair and pale eyes stick out even more. But this wouldn't be for very long, since in Wisconsin we rarely see the sun past August. Levi had on a checkered button-down paired with long cargo shorts and flip-flops. It was if he couldn't decide whether to dress up or be casual. I luckily had Emily to help me pick out my first day of school outfit that day. A bright yellow and white striped sundress with a white cardigan. Levi gave me an eager smile. So what kind of name is McCallan? Or is it Michaela? My initial instinct was to ask him if the name Levi came from the jeans his mom was wearing on the day he was born, but instead I behaved like the good responsible student I was supposed to be. It's a family name, I said, which wasn't a total lie. It was someone's family's name, just not mine. While I loved that I had a unique name, it was always a little embarrassing to admit it was because my dad liked a certain kind of Scotch whiskey. It's McCallan. Dude, that's cool. I couldn't believe he just called me dude. Yeah, thanks. I finished the tour at his first class, English. Well, here you are. He looked at me expectantly, like I was supposed to find him a desk and tuck him in goodnight. Hi, McCallan, Mr. Driver greeted me. I didn't think I had you until later today. Oh, wait, you must be Levi. Yes, I'm showing him around. Well, I turned to Levi. I've got to catch class. Good luck. Oh, okay, he stammered. See you around? It was at that moment I realized the look he had was fear. He was scared. Of course he was. I felt a pang of guilt, but quickly shook it off as I walked to my first class. I had enough problems as it was. Emily got down to business the second we were in line at the lunch that day. So what's the deal with the new guy, she asked. I shrugged my shoulders. I don't know. He's okay. She examined a slice of pizza. His hair is so long. He's from California, I offered. What else do you know about him? She discarded the pizza and picked up a chicken sandwich and salad. I followed suit. I was so thankful that I had a girly girlfriend like Emily. My dad, as much as he tried, couldn't really help me out with things like hair, clothes, and makeup. If left to his own devices, I'd wear jeans, sneakers, and a Green Bay Packers t-shirt every day, and eat pizza for every meal. And Emily was as girly as you could get. She was easily one of the prettiest girls in her class, with long, shiny, jet-black hair, and dark brown eyes. She also had the best clothes, and I was so glad we were the same size so I could borrow them, although she was already way more developed than I was. At least I would have someone to go to once I needed a bra. I couldn't even imagine how awkward that would be for Dad, for both of us. I tried to think about what else I learned about Levi. Now too late, I felt I should have made more of an effort. Danielle joined us, her honey-colored curls bouncing along as we walked into the cafeteria. Is that the new guy? She pointed to Levi, who was sitting by himself. He's so skinny, Emily remarked. Daniel laughed. I know, right? But don't worry. If the Better Burgers don't fatten him up, the cheese curds and brats will. The three of us started walking to our regular table. Levi's gaze followed us. We were used to this. Usually people like to make little comments like, a blonde, a redhead, and an Asian walked into a... But I always saw us as the one you want to sit next to because she's hilarious, the one you want to cheat off in the class, and the one all the guys have a crush on. I gave Levi a quick smile, hoping to undo some of the rudeness from the morning. He returned with a sad wave. I paused for a second, and in that second, I noticed the look of gratitude on Levi's face. He was expecting me to sit with him, or at least invite him over. I hesitated, unsure what to do. I didn't want to play babysitter, but I also knew what it was like to be alone, and scared. Guys, I feel bad. Could he sit with us? When nobody argued, I approached Levi. Hey there, how was your morning? I asked, trying to smile and be welcoming for a change. It was good. The tone in his voice indicated that it was anything but good. Do you want to sit with us? I gestured to our table. Thanks, he exhaled deeply. Soon the attention turned toward gossip of the I really know how you spent your summer vacation kind. Levi sat next to me and picked at his lunch uncomfortably. He put his backpack on the table, and I noticed a button pinned onto it. That's not... I stopped myself. What were the chances it was what I thought it was? It'd be way too random. Levi noticed I was looking at the Keep Calm and Blimey On button on his bag. Oh, there's this totally rad BBC show, he started to explain. I could barely contain my excitement. Buggy and Floyd, I love that show. His face lit up. No way. Nobody knows Buggy and Floyd. This is insane. It was insane. Buggy and Floyd followed the zany antics of Theodore Bugsy, and his cousin roommate Floyd. In pretty much every episode, Buggy got himself into some ludicrous trouble that Floyd had to rescue him from, and Floyd was always complaining about the situation. Buggy and pretty much everything about society. I felt a smile start to spread across my lips. Yeah, my mom's family lives in Ireland, and I saw it when I visited them a couple summers ago. I have the DVDs at home. Me too. My buddy's dad is head of development for a production company, and he was thinking about adapting it for here. I groaned. I hated it when a perfectly awesome show from the UK got changed into the US. Sometimes British humor did not translate, and it would end up dumbed down. So true. Sorry, just so true. Anyway. They totally ruin it, Levi and said in unison. Both of us were surprised for a second before we started laughing. Favorite episode? He was leaning forward, his shoulders no longer up towards his ears. Oh, there's so many. The one where Floyd's sister's about to give birth. Blimey, if I know to get boiling water unless a cup of tea counts. Levi's Cockney accent was spot on. I forget how a Cockney accent is. So just, whatever. Okay. Yes! I slammed my hand against the tabletop. What's going on over there? Emily looked inquisitively at both of us. You know that British show I've tried to get you to watch? That? Emily shook her head at me like she always did when she found out my little eccentricities amusing. She turned toward Levi. You know about that? He laughed. Yeah, it's so funny. Uh-huh. Emily wrinkled her nose. It's adorable that you have that in common. Common? Levi cried. I know I ain't the Queen o' England, but I ain't common. This was another line from the show. A common nuisance you are, we both finished. Emily looked at us like we were aliens. Daniel seemed amused. We talked a little more about our summers, and when it was time to go, I made sure Levi knew where he was going next. This time when he said, see you later, I found myself not dreading the idea. It was pretty cool to have someone around here who didn't like the same things as everybody else. Emily laughed as we put our trays on the conveyor belt. So, you and your new boyfriend seem to have a lot to talk about. Stop it. You know he's not my boyfriend. I know that, but everybody else in the cafeteria seems to notice your little love fest. She was probably right. People were most likely making comments about our over-animated conversation, but I really didn't care. It would be a welcome change from everything else people had whispered behind my back over the past year. Uncle Adam was waiting for me after school to take me home. He was always excited to see me, even if he dropped me off only a few hours ago. How was your first day? He asked while his arms wrapped tightly around me. Good, I assured him. All right. He grabbed my backpack and started walking me to his car. Levi was getting into a USV with a woman I assumed was his mom. He said something to her, and she started to walk over to us. With some reluctance, he followed. A knot began to form tightly in my stomach. I always got defensive when anybody ever met Adam for the first time. Uncle Adam is an amazing person, and everybody in town loves him. He's friendly, outgoing, always willing to lend a hand. But he was born with speech deformity, so when he talks, his speech sounds a little slurred. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but the back of his throat doesn't close properly, so it can be difficult to understand him sometimes. When I was little and I asked what was wrong with Uncle Adam, Mom made it clear that there was nothing wrong with him. He spoke differently because of birth defect, so I took it as a face value. Then 2 years ago, I was walking home from the park when these boys started asking how my retard uncle was going. I yelled, "He's not retarded, he just talks funny." I came home in tears and told my dad what had happened. That's when he informed me that Adam was developmentally, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce today, disabled. My parents thought I already knew. But what did I know? He has a job, and lives in his own house, right across the street from ours. His life isn't really that different from ours. I held my breath as she introduced herself to Adam and me, worried that, like some other people, she'd do something wrong. "Hi, McCallum. I'm Levi's mother. Thank you so much for being welcoming to Levi today. It's hard to move halfway across the country and start fresh at a new school." She had the same long blonde hair as Levi, but hers was pulled back into a high ponytail. She had on yoga pants and a hoodie. It looked like she was coming back from the gym. Even without makeup on, she was absolutely gorgeous. "Mom," Levi groaned, no doubt trying to prevent her from telling his whole life story. She turned toward Adam. "And you must be her father." Uncle Adam grabbed her hand, and I saw her flinch slightly at his grip. "Uncle." "This is my Uncle Adam," I said. "Very nice to meet you." She gave him a warm smile as she and Levi shook hands too. I tried to find some hesitation on Levi's part, but it wasn't there. He was probably more focused on getting his mom back to the car. I found myself nervously over-explaining. "Yeah, my dad sometimes has to work late even though he owns his own construction company, so sometimes Adam leaves the hardware store to take me home." "Well, if you ever need us to take you home or stay with us until your dad or uncle is done, we'd be more than happy to have you." I stood there silently for a few seconds. I was used to Midwestern politeness, but here was a woman who just moved to town that I just met, and she was already offering her home to me. And she was doing it out of niceness, not because she knew about the accident. "Great. Wednesdays are always hard," Uncle Adam said before I could stop him. He usually worked from 7 in the morning until 2, so he could pick me up from school, except on Mondays when he had the late shift. Last year, I either stayed in the library or got a ride with Emily or Danielle after the respective after-school activities. Levi's mom didn't hesitate. "Why don't you come on over on Wednesday? Only if you want." I glanced over at Levi, who looked at me and mouthed the words she just said. "Only if you want." "Sure," Uncle Adam agreed. "I'll give you my number, and McCallum's father can call me if he has any concerns, okay?" Levi pointed to the button on his back. His eyebrow arched in a playful manner. I imagined us watching Buggy and Floyd together. "I do," I mouthed back. The two adults exchanged phone numbers. The negative me said Levi's mom was doing this because she thought my uncle was unfit to look after me. The positive me said she was a nice person who wanted her son to have friends. "Or maybe she feels sorry for you," the negative me said. "She doesn't know," the positive me spoke up. This wasn't the same thing as a non-friend suddenly paying attention to you or offering a shoulder to cry on, or bringing over a casserole that was nothing your mother would ever cooked for you. Your mother would have ever cooked for you. Sorry. Uncle Adam and I got into his car. Sorry. Slurring. He always made sure I was buckled up properly before he turned on the ignition. "Everything okay?" He looked at me intently. "Yeah," I said, even though I had no idea how to feel about what had just happened. I didn't really like unexpected turns. I'd had more than my share by that point. Adam looked sad. "Your mother loved picking you up from school." I nodded, which was pretty much the only response I had whenever anybody brought her up. A tear started trickling down his face. "He looks so much like her." I've been getting used to this. I loved that I looked like my mother. I had her big hazel eyes, heart-shaped face, and wavy auburn hair that turned strawberry blonde in the summer. But I was also that mirror girl, the walking reminder of what we had all lost. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and promised myself, in 15 minutes you can work on algebra homework. In 15 minutes you'll have a repart. Get through these next 15 minutes, and you'll be fine. Do you really think my mom offered to give you a ride out of pity? Not anymore. Now I know your mom is the definition of incredible. Like mother, like son. Oh, please. But you admit you only invited me to sit with you at lunch out of pity. Totally. See, you're supposed to lie and say you wanted to hang out with me because you thought I was beyond cool. So you want me to lie? Yeah. Friends lie to make each other feel better. You didn't know that? Have I told you that you look really cute today? Thanks, Wait a second. Chapter 2. This is, Levi now. Last one was McKellen. You didn't know. I was upset when my parents first told me we were moving to Wisconsin. Like, why did I have to totally give up my friends and my life because Dad got a big promotion? Why couldn't we have stayed in Santa Monica where the weather was sweet and the waves were sick? But then I realized I could have a fresh start. I always used to be jealous when a new guy came to our school. He'd get all this attention. He was a mystery. He could be anybody. So maybe moving would be good. I'd be the stranger from a strange land. What girl could resist that? Then I arrived. First I was excited and nervous when the principal introduced me to McKellen because she was pretty. Then she made it known within like 2.5 seconds that she had no interest in me whatsoever. You could have seriously given her a glass of milk and it would have been frozen in less than a minute. She was that cold. So I figured we'd never talk again, and I concentrated on the guys at school. Guys are always way more chill than girls anyway. Right before lunch on my first day, I went up to this group of guys, introduced myself, tried to be calm, cool, and collected. But I'm pretty sure I stank of desperation. I was able to tell right away that Keith, this beast of a guy, was the alpha in our grade. He always had a group of 3 or 4 other guys around him, and they were all wearing some sort of Wisconsin team t-shirt. Keith had on a Badgers hoodie and jean shorts. He was close to 5'10", and he towered over everybody, including most of the teachers. He wasn't skinny, and he wasn't fat. He was just big. He studied me as I approached him and said, "What's your deal?" I don't know what the hell that accent was. I'll try to change that. Okay, it's like Brooklyn accent or something. Okay, anyway, before I had a chance to introduce myself, I made some small talk and felt like I was on a job interview. Then I made a fatal error. I should have known better. I admitted to being a Chicago Bears fan. I'm pretty sure I heard actual hissing. I figured whatever, they'd tease me like guys do. That was what I was expecting, hoping, because if guys teased you, you were kind of in. But after I grabbed my lunch, not one person would look at me when I went to sit down. They were all too busy catching up with each other to notice the new guy standing there by himself. Instead of being this person everybody wanted to know more about, it was like I had leprosy or something. I kept being told that everybody in Wisconsin was so nice, but that wasn't the feeling I got. It was more like I was an intruder on their turf. I was only halfway through my first day, and I was miserable. Then McKellen came along. She totally saved me from the public humiliation. Ugh, I can say that in my head. She totally saved me from the public humiliation of having to eat alone on my first day of school. From then on, I ate with her and her friends. At first, I wasn't sure what to make of McKellen coming over on Wednesdays after school. The second we got to my house, she opened up whatever homework she had and would sit there and study until her dad came and got her. She only lightened up when I put on Bucky and Floyd. After a few Wednesdays, we started talking some more. She was pretty cool, like awesome cool, even though she could sometimes be cold. One Wednesday, about a month in, she had to stay longer than usual. Mom came back from the store and said, "McKellen, sweetie, your dad just called me. He's running late, so you're going to join us for dinner. Hope you like stir-fry." McKellen studied Mom from our place at the dining room tables as Mom went into the kitchen and started unpacking her groceries. I tried not to laugh at McKellen's face scrunched up. She always did that when she was studying it, be it math or my mom. It was pretty adorable. Hey, I tried to get McCallum's attention back to me. Do you want to play a video game or something? I want to finish the outline of my English paper. She started scribbling in her notebook. I picked up the tattered book she was reading. Miss Lulu Bet, I laughed. You're writing your author report on someone who wrote a book called Miss Lulu Bet? McCallum reached her hand out to the book. Can you please be careful with that? It's on loan from the library. It's rare. I presented the book to her with both hands in a slight bow. And for your information, the author, Zona Gale, was born in Wisconsin and was the first woman ever awarded the Pulitzer Prize for drama. It wouldn't kill you to learn a little bit about the history of where you now live. Uh-huh. That was usually my reply whenever McCallum tried to educate me on pretty much anything. I did okay in school, got decent enough grades, but I wasn't the ultimate student like she was. She kept her attention on her notebook. Who are you going to write your report on? Dr. Seuss? I do like green eggs and ham, Mac I am, she grimaced. I don't know why I even bother sometimes. She pretended to get back to work, but I could see the corners of her mouth start to turn. I cautiously picked up the book again. Maybe I should read this. I wonder what kind of bet Miss Lulu placed. McCallum groaned. Mrs. Rogers, do you need any help with supper? Mom popped her head into the doorway. That's okay. I think I've got it covered. But McCallum got up and went into the kitchen. Are you sure? Well, if you want, you can help me cut up some vegetables. Mom gave her a smile. Great. Does this mean I have to help? I thought. Leave it to McCallum to make me look even more like a slacker. Mom pulled out some green and red peppers, zucchini and mushrooms from the grocery bag, and handed McCallum the cutting board and knife. McCallum looked between the knife and vegetables like she was trying to solve a difficult equation. She held the knife to the pepper, first one way then the other. At one point she looked up at me, probably hoping for help, like I had any clue about cooking. I'd almost burned our house down microwaving popcorn the past year. It had smelled like charred popcorn for over a week. I'd been wisely banned from the kitchen ever since. Is there a certain way you want them cut? She asked Mom. Mom opened her mouth, and then it was like I saw a light bulb go on all of her head. She went over to McCallum and showed her the different ways to cut everything. McCallum's green eyes were watching everything like she was going to be graded on it. Thanks, she said quietly when they were through. There isn't a lot of cooking at my house anymore. It was then that I realized why McCallum was enamored with Mom. It was Emily who told me about the car accident. McCallum hadn't really said much about her mom to me, and I had no clue if I should have said something to her. Or asked, like, what do you do in that circumstance? Blimey, if I knew. Even though I was quickly becoming friends with McCallum and her group, I still felt like I needed some dudes in my life. What's up, California? Keith came up to me after class in early November. How's it hanging, bro? How's it hanging, brah? But he said it like brah. I knew he was making fun of how I talked, but had he ever heard himself? Everybody here had these nasally accents and overpronounced the vowels. I found it hilarious. Saw you running around the track at the gym. You're pretty fast. Thanks, man. I debated bragging to him that I was faster when it wasn't so cold, even though the snow from the first snowstorm of the year, which happened before Halloween, had melted. It was still freezing outside. Part of me had already written off Keith and his group, and still I felt a little excited as Keith continued. Yeah, maybe you could join our game sometime. Wide receiver or something. Do they even play football in La La Land? He laughed. I decided to throw it right back at him. I don't know, man. Ever heard of this little thing called the Rose Bowl? Probably not, since the Badgers haven't won it in years. Ouch. But Keith looked impressed. I was a little rusty with the guy put-downs. Back in California, my buddies and I would spend hours ragging on each other. Our families, the girls we liked, you name it. The bigger the put-down, the bigger the laugh. It was our own art form. Okay, California. Keith nodded to himself. I guess I'll see you around. Don't let those chicks start braiding your hair or doing your nails. Real men play football. Yeah, totally. We did this awkward handshake thing that made me feel even more like a tool. But hey, at least he was talking to me. That was a start. I could tell right away that McCallum was not in a good mood after school. Mom had a meeting that was running late, so he had to walk the 20 minutes to my house. She hardly talked to me during the walk, and I didn't even want to stop in Riverside Park. We always would stop in the park and goof around whenever we walked to my place, even if it was cold out, but apparently not that day. "Are you okay?" I finally asked her, mostly because the silence was super awkward. She was all, "Yeah, no, I don't feel well." I saw her holding her stomach. I hoped she wasn't going to blow chunks in front of me. Once we got home, she sat there. She didn't talk. She didn't want to watch TV. She didn't want anything to eat. She didn't even crack open a book to study. That's when I knew things were serious. I started playing a couple video games. She silently watched from the couch. Man, I tell you, I looked at her and saw that she didn't look so great. I figured there was only one thing that could put a smile on her face. "Oi!" I called out my best Cockney accent. "You gonna just sit there? Are you gonna help me deliver a baby?" Then I pretended to faint. It was classic Buggy. She got up suddenly and went to the bathroom. This was the problem with being friends with a girl. They could be so complicated. Like, was I supposed to guess what was wrong? Couldn't you give me a hint? After I played a few more games, I realized she had been in the bathroom for an unusually long time. Gross. What if she'd hit her head on the counter or something? I didn't want to bother her, but she had said she wasn't feeling well. I approached the bathroom cautiously. McAllen? Go away! Do you need— I said go away! I was pretty sure she threw something at the door, or she banged on the door. There was some noise that happened, and it was clear she was not happy. I didn't know what to do. My buddies back home never locked themselves in a bathroom. Thankfully, Mom arrived home a few minutes later. At first, she gave me a questioning look when she saw me staring at the bathroom door. "Mom, I don't know what's going on. She's locked herself in there. I think she's crying. I swear I didn't do anything." Mom's eyes got wide. Go play video games." Mom was always harping on me to stop playing video games. I went back into the living room before she could change her mind. After what seemed like an eternity, Mom emerged from the bathroom. She cut me off. "Listen, you're not to say anything to McAllen about this, or anybody at school. Do you understand me?" I wasn't used to her having such a harsh tone with me. "I need you to go to your room." "What?" I protested. "But I didn't do any—" Mom snapped her fingers at me. Great. Now Mom was mad at me. She lowered her voice. "I need to have a private conversation with McAllen's dad when he gets here. Now go to your room, and I don't want to hear another word about this." She folded her arms, and I knew I had no choice but to do what she said. I went up to my room totally confused, but I did know one thing. I would never understand girls. Oh wow. What? I finally realized what happened that day. You're just figuring this out now. Yeah, I guess we're not having this conversation. I can't believe I didn't realize you got— What part of "we're not having this conversation" are you failing to comprehend? Do you think I want to talk about this? Then why are you talking about this? Never mind. You better hurry up and discuss something manly to get your dude points back up. Yeah, me like meat. Chicks. Football. Fire. Brats. Pedicures. Okay, you promised you'd never mention that. I had a blister, I was just— Excuses. You're the worst. And you love me for it. Yes, because I'm a total glutton for punishment, and 100% pure man. Stop laughing. Seriously, stop laughing. McAllen, it's not that funny. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the first few chapters. I will be reading probably 2 chapters per thing, because like they kind of go together, and one's like the one character, one's the other, so it just makes sense. And yeah, it's like pretty long, so just listen to this when you have the time or whatever. But yeah, my throat is sore as can be, and I've been reading for like half an hour, but it's totally worth it because it's like a great book, and I just want everyone to enjoy this, I guess. So I hope you did, and we'll see you next time with another video. Okay, bye bye guys. Bye bye.